Good afternoon, everybody. A very, very warm welcome to everybody today. Although it's virtual, but I'm glad to be with all of you today. And I would like to introduce the panel, which everybody knows. Welcome to Rohit Khosla, who is representing IHCL. Anuraag Bhatnagar, who is the Chief Operating Officer for the Leela Palace Hotel and Resort.
Hi, everyone.
Mr. Sudeep Jain, Managing Director, Southwest Asia Intercon IHG Group.
Good afternoon, everyone.
We also have Navjit Ahluwalia, VP and Country Head Hilton, who will join us shortly. But we will proceed with the panel discussion. Now, today's panel discussion may not be everyone's favorite because it talks about budding costs, but it is the need of the hour, not only for businesses, but for everyone, individually, at business level, for everyone. We are under extreme conditions, and especially the hospitality industry, and cost is something which is in our control, unlike the revenues. Now, everybody is looking at controlling costs with a different lens. While I am aware that some hotel groups have rampantly cut the salaries, which is one of the major costs for every hotel group today, others have chosen not to, which tells me that there are more than one way of looking at this demon that we all are fighting or tackling. So today I would like to explore how every hotel group is tackling this demon in its own way. The objective and the intention is to learn from the peers, learn from each other so that we can do what we want to do in a better way and come out of this in a more as a winner than getting affected by it. Hospitality industry is one who has always fought by itself, lack of government support. Everything is against hotel industry, but still we continue to march on. And I think the pandemic will be one more such feather in our caps if done rightly. So I invite our panelists to tell us what they have done at their group level to cut the cost. While I have a set of questions which I'll get into later, but I will invite Mr. Khosla first to tell us how IHCL, being one of the largest hotel chains, tackle this issue.
Thank you, Gurmeet. Thank you for having me on this panel, and thank you, Manav. Congratulations on the HOSI 2020. It's a pleasure to be here with my colleagues Anuraag and Sudeep and Navjit shortly. In fact, this Black Swan event has been the worst that has ever been witnessed by any one of us who are living on the planet today. And no school, no college, no MBA course ever taught you how to manage profit when there is no top line. So all of us have been learning together and really applying our mind to see how we can, in this time of pandemic, still limit our costs, limit the cash outflow, because when there's a crisis, cash is king, and we need to conserve cash. And so when we look at, there are basically, as you all are aware, there are three types of costs. You have fixed, semi-variable, and variable costs. And all of us are attacking them in the immediate, midterm, and the long term. And like you very rightly said, Gurmeet, one of the fixed costs that is a very large portion of a fixed cost is the payroll cost. But many people don't realize that for some leased properties, even one of the other fixed costs that is very big is also lease rentals. So one has to look at costs in a holistic manner, not what is the most apparent. One has to really go through the P&L and look at each and every line item to see where are you getting impacted and how you can work on those costs. At IHCL, we have launched a particular program called Reset 2020. And the reset is R stands for revenue optimization, S stands for spend optimization, A stands for asset management, and then E stands for excellence, and T stands for thrift and financial prudence. So basically, reset is a program that we have in which S, which is spend optimization, is a very important part, and so is effective asset management. Because, like I mentioned, lease rentals, and these are force majeure times, and ensuring that you're protecting your bottom line by looking at controlling lease outflows is very important. The second one, obviously, is payroll. And I think everybody, based on their own organization's value systems, has an approach towards payroll costs. Some have looked at voluntary contributions, like IHCL has. Some have looked at furloughs and layoffs. But I think across the industry, maybe something common that has happened is that the temporary staff, or like fixed-term contract or contractual staff, have been kind of laid off, but most organizations have kept the permanent staff on. And when I say most, I say those organizations that have the skin in the teeth in this market. And large organizations that are there, we are not here for the here and now. IHCL has been around for 117 years, and we have seen our crises. And there is very important to manage stakeholder expectation. And amongst the stakeholders are also employees besides shareholders. So to carry everybody along and make sure you do something in a just, in a transparent and fair manner, which is participative in nature, because if we are one family, one team working towards one objective, then we can together take decisions which are a win-win situation. And so the organization also wins and people save the jobs. So I guess that's what we have done as far as the fixed cost is concerned. But variable costs, semi-variable, like AMCs renegotiating with various AMC vendors, renegotiating with people, our vendors, are very important ways to also cut costs. We have been working with the government to look at minimum charges for electricity. We have been very successful. We have looked at alternate forms of electricity, solar power, etc., to see how we can bring down the second highest fixed cost, which is heat, light, power. So I think everybody is doing a lot, but at IHCL, we are very grateful to the entire team at IHCL under stewardship of Mr. Puneet Chitwal, our managing director. And we have been able to launch this reset and have seen some good results come in Q1. And I'm sure we are on a track as far as Q2 is concerned. So that's over to you, Gurmeet, on terms of cost.
So in terms of cost, you said AMC's renegotiation with vendors, correct? Working with government to reduce the electricity cost. Have you had any success, by the way, there with the government?
Yes, we have had success in certain markets, like even including in New Delhi. We had success in Maharashtra. We have had success, and they have waived off the minimum charges that are there, and so that's good for us. And many of our partners, including the government, have also given some force majeure releases to us, so to cut down on our lease costs. So these are two very big wins, which are outside your control and into the public domain. So I think you have to work cooperatively as an industry through associations like Hotel Association, CII, etc., and continuously engage with the government to see how we can get relief for the industry, because everybody is suffering and we are in it together.
Yeah, true. So from the government, I'm very keen to talk about it a little more. You have got success with electricity and lease costs. Am I right?
Yes.
So this must be done statewide, I'm sure.
Yes.
At state level, right? Okay.
Right.
So, Navjit, welcome. Hello, Navjit, can you hear me? No. Okay, let's go to Anurag. Anurag, you are dealing with a group which is known for luxury. You are a owner, presenting part, ownership part, management. Tell us, how are you managing to deliver luxury while while decreasing the cost? This must be the biggest challenge, I'm sure.
It's an interesting challenge to have. But before I get to that one, I think I'll just kind of add on and stretch what Rohit has already mentioned. I think whilst everybody is focusing on cost, and this is the topic of the day today, I think it's all about recalibrating and giving it a different sense of purpose, like repurposing ourselves. The short-term quick fix solution is to have furloughs, lay off people, cut down salaries and all that. But to me, it's a very short-term quick fix, more to do with cash than a long-term sustainable plan. To us, the way we have approached it at the Leela is kind of complete service, programming and re-engineering, wherein we can have one associate do more. And we are also given it the viewpoint and the lens that COVID has actually acted like an opportunity for us, where we have fast forwarded and used it as a catalyst to bring forward the transformation and the changes which were anyway being planned. I think COVID has taught us how important it is to be able to afford what you propose to do. It's critical, and it has really been a wake-up call for all of us. So coming back to what you said in terms of how do we deliver luxury, all our hotels have fortunately opened. I mean, the last one was in New Delhi, and we were like, we launched the Leela Suraksha. We are very mindful of our responsibility to ensure, in partnership with Bureau Veritas, that the hotels are safe. But to our pleasant surprise, we realized that the zest for life and the joy of living and the way that our guests came back to our hotel was refreshingly nice. And I think what we planned to do, we did not really cut down on the luxury quotient. We did not, because we did realize that while luxury, I would say slightly more responsible luxury, there's more a sense of graciousness, more a sense of engagement with more of nature and life and wellness and healing. But in terms of expectations, people have been caught up in their homes for a very long time. They've just been freed. So what we really tried to do to balance this line was to be more efficient about how we deliver luxury rather than cutting down on the experience. It was being more efficient, Rohit alluded to, in terms of our contracting, in terms of our technology adoption, in terms of repurposing our associates and talents across the hotels, in terms of ensuring that we stretched our dollar a little bit more in terms of our spend, and also building in efficiencies at a broad and a corporate level, in terms of building in clusters, reducing layers of management, removing all the silos in department, bringing everything that we always have wanted to do. So I think that alone, we've been able to shave off some costs and also efficiencies. We are hoping, and these changes will be permanent and transformational. Because we believe, and I really feel that if we cut down on the experiential side or reduce the luxury offerings, it's going to be a short term because everyone is trying for the same customer. That's one. Secondly, I think luxury is a lot about personalization. This is where technology has come into play in these times of social distancing, that how can we be more personalized and deliver personalization whilst maintaining and all the mandates. So that's been a big learning for us.
Have you invested in technology, or how are you doing something differently with the technology than you were doing before?
Absolutely. We have fast-tracked a lot of technology, both on the hardware side, as well as bringing in apps and making the apps associate-friendly, ensuring that we have the right dashboard, which is actually helping us both guest-facing as well as associate-facing. So there is a complete technology revamp that's happening in the organization as I speak right now. And we are using this time because we know this is a great time for us to do beta testing of technology, to have pilot projects to ensure whether it's on the hardware, whether it's moving to cloud solutions, bringing in human resource management systems and protocols, and especially on the heart of the house side. Rohit spoke about heat, light, and power, and operating efficiencies in repair and maintenance. Now, obviously, we have to keep constantly investing in the quality of our asset and quality of the hotel. But technology has been a big enabler for us to shave off some of the costs when it comes to heat, light, and power, and remove the necessity of having static desk managers and desk attendants, where you can use mobile technology to really service on the go.
So on this point of removing couple of associates and replacing them with technology, or even, making an individual understand to do 2-3 different functions, multitasking, right, is the new norm right now in the hotel industry. I was talking to someone in the industry who's a leader, and I understand that they realized or found out, just like many other groups, that they can operate the hotel group with the same efficiency but 25% lower manpower. Is this something that all of you have also looked into, where the manpower is reduced, but the cost of manpower will be reduced going forward, because this pandemic is going to be, unfortunately, will be there for the industry for a long time. So, and there will be new costs.
Sorry. When I mentioned removed, I was referring to repurposed. So when I say a desk attendant is not static, means he can still do the same job, but on the go, which means in his downtime, he can do something else. He can associate, he can help. Yeah.
Right. But is it true for you all, wherein you have understood or found out that the manpower percentage can be decreased to what it was, and that could be the new normal going forward? Is that something IHG has looked into?
Yeah.
IHCL has looked into?
Yeah. So Gurmeet, the fact is, listen, also keep in mind the business is down dramatically, right, for everyone. So automatically when the business is down, you can control your costs. So, the true test will really be when we get back to the same occupancy levels and to the same levels of business that we had in 2019. And, the question is, what have we done, to make it more efficient in the process? I think both Rohit and Anuraag have talked about manpower, and I agree, that's the biggest cost, no doubt. But listen, from an operator's perspective, we got to look at our owner partners, and our whole issue is about how do we preserve cash for them. So, there are a couple other things we've done apart from just manpower. Listen, everyone's done on manpower. We've relaxed brand standards, temporarily. For example, we've closed buffets. We've reduced the number of items you need to have. The throw, or the bedspread at the base of the bed is history. The compendiums in the rooms are all reduced, and I would foresee that a lot of them will be really looked at hard to see whether they come back once we're back to the so-called new normal. The second thing, as our owners partners have done, and listen, there is we've heard that this is not one solution for everyone. So we've done market tailored fee relief and fee deferment packages, right, such that it's not a cost reduction, it's a cost deferral, because the whole purpose right now is to preserve the cash, because we all know we are going to go back to a situation where things are going to be back to what they may have been. It may take some time, no one knows how long it's going to take, but it's about how do we tide over these difficult times. And so during that, we're saying preserving cash. I think a lot of people have done is, like, you can use the FF&E reserve for your cash, which is required. We've looked at our supply chains from an operator standpoint, and negotiating with our suppliers globally to see what relief packages they can offer us, which are then being passed on to the owners, not really kept with us. And because our marketing and reservations activity have come down dramatically, right? So we've also given some, as I said, market-specific hotel by hotel relief packages, which have been all very welcome to our partners. Regarding the technology which was being mentioned, listen, we were already on the path, because we'd already rolled out to all our 59 hotels, 5,900 hotels globally, called Concerto, the property management system, which is cloud-based automatically. What this COVID has done is just accelerated that for us, in the sense that normal things like, mobile check-in, check-out, your bill being sent to your phone, contactless ordering of in-room dining, contactless menus so that you can scan a QR code, contactless payments. Those are all things which were planned, and we've all accelerated that, and they're being rolled out into our hotels currently. So those are certainly, and I think those are going to become the norm going forward. Fortunately, because Concerto was already rolled out, it's just been a little easier for us to do it, because for us, we don't have to go hotel by hotel by hotel to do it, because the property management system's already there on the cloud. Whatever we want to roll it, we can kind of plug it into there, and then you're off to the races. So I think that's been a big thing. The acceleration of the adoption of technology, and I think that's been helpful for us.
So that cost was already incurred for all of you, or was that a new cost to deploy the technology which we are currently using, be it contactless or less contact?
So Gurmeet, the way to look at it is there is a fixed cost of investments, which is in the hardware and the software, which is the sort of the infrastructure and the bed which you need, right? The bedrock. Then you tack on different things on top of it, right? Your sort of several options. If you're thinking of buying a car, one is the base model. Fortunately, the investment in the base case has already been made, which is Concerto and the infrastructure required. Now, yes, there is some investment required. So when you are going to get the mobile, when you are going to get the contactless check-in, check-out, or contactless ordering of food, that's a tack on to that infrastructure, right? So there is an added cost, but that's where we've been helpful with our partners to say, in order to invest money into this new cost, let's see where we can preserve your cash so that we're not coming back and asking you to make investments. We've deferred all unnecessary capital expenses till 2021, 2022 in all our hotels, because we're saying, yes, if you really require it, because your hotel may not be functioning without it, yes, absolutely, you've got to do it. But all the other investments required have been all deferred, because as I said, it's about preserving cash. There are two things which are critical. One is, how do you preserve cash? And number two, how do you limit your losses or get to profitability as quick as possible? I don't think so. Our owners are going to be worried about what is my total cost structure. They're going to be worried about, am I going to be having to write you a check at the end of the month, or can the hotel be self-sustaining?
Yes. So I would be, I will give a question to Navjit, but I would like to understand from you, Sudeep, what are the market-specific relief packages you have offered to the owner? That would be something interesting if you can go in depth with it. But let me first pose a question to Navjit. Navjit, hi, are you able to hear me?
Hi, Gurmeet, I can hear you. Thanks.
Great. Navjit, I would like to understand from you, what are the initiatives done by your group, Hilton, and how are you working with the owners to reduce costs and help them get through this storm?
So, Gurmeet, I think the analogy I normally use is that we are, of course, in a terrible storm, but we are all in very different boats, not just as hotel companies, but also as different owners. So, I mean, if you are in a small boat that's already leaking, you have no choice but to put on your life jacket, jump into the ocean, and try to swim ashore. If you are in a big 100-footer yacht, you obviously have more time, you have the resources to hunker down, to keep your people motivated, do a lot of other things that you wouldn't have done, and just keep safe. So I think the response varies broadly. It is a bespoke response which caters to the need of every different owner and the situation that they find themselves in. And just as a company ourselves, we have taken action to preserve cash, to draw down our credit lines, to hunker down, to prepare for what's going to be a long onslaught, which might go into 2022. The same thing we are doing for all our hotels, depending upon, and we have hotels which have said, we have the ability to weather the storm for the next 8 months or a year, and so we don't want to take very dramatic steps. but there are other partners that just don't have a choice. I mean, they have, their business has to survive in order for the hotel to survive, and that necessitates taking much more harsher steps that may be considered detrimental in the long term. But you don't have a choice. You have to do whatever is necessary to survive. And so I think the short answer is that the approach is as varied and as diverse as can be. I don't think there's a one solution that fits all kind of approach to this at all.
No, that's true. Absolutely, that's absolutely true. It totally depends on how deep your roots are, and how much are you willing to even take this, giant. But I would like to understand, what have you done specifically? Has Hilton done something specifically? How have you worked? Just give us some examples, like Rohit pointed out about AMCs, renegotiating vendors, having some win with the government. Sudeep is mentioning about how they have given market relief packages to owners to specific market. Anuraag is all about technology and how they got this time to test and deploy technology, not only for these times but going forward. So what something specific Hilton has done, which we will all like to learn from?
So I think that obviously there are two elements to this. One is what are we doing for our customers, and others is the second part is what we are doing as far as internal processes are concerned. The external processes, obviously you want to give confidence to your customers that as and when they start to travel, they are coming to something that's really safe, hygienic, right, and the best that the industry can offer. So obviously we've done a lot of that work with regards to hygiene and sanitation, which everybody has done, but obviously we've taken it to a hospital level of cleanliness, having a tie-up with Mayo Clinic and Dettol, using those products, and so trying to be sure that as and when customers are traveling to us, they are safe. In order to sustain this, we've offered...
Sorry, go ahead.
In order to sustain the business, we've done all the things that my counterparts have mentioned already. I mean, we've relaxed brand standards. We have tried to make the costs as minimal as we possibly can by taking off the reimbursable IT-related charges, by getting waivers from vendors, from partners that we work with constantly, so that the fixed part of the cost structure has been brought to bare bones kind of structure, and whatever remains is very, very variable based on the level of business. And we have some hotels that are doing reasonably well with repat business. We have some hotels that are running 85% occupancy with repat business. So we have to have variable cost structures in line with that. So I think that, and also I think this is an opportunity for all of us, which we have all done, is to look at a ground-up approach to business, right? We have looked at, were we starting this hotel all over again? Because we did start many hotels that were shut down. We have hotels that have been shut down, really suspended operation for 6 months, and we've just started operating them again. And so we've had this time to relook at a ground-up approach to see, okay, if I were to start this hotel again, what would be the level of service? And obviously, there's a lesser expectations from guests as well, which is an opportunity for us to reorient the level of service we provide as well. And so to realign our cost structure in line with that. So I think the two are happening simultaneously. Now, as somebody just mentioned, Sudeep mentioned, we have to see if we can sustain this when business is back to pre-COVID levels in 2019 levels. But I think the attempt will be that we emerge out of this more efficient, that at the end of all this, we have a much better and more profitable business than we had prior to entering COVID.
So I would like to understand from all of you, which are the costs that you are seeing gone forever, like which you truly bury forever? Can we start with Rohit? No, we can't hear you, Rohit.
You mentioned that some costs that are gone forever. I think
Yes.
As everybody has reimagined their business model, we have also looked at obviously brand standards and the frills and a lot of things that go, maybe non-value adding. But I guess as hosts, as hoteliers, we have this habit of giving a $120 value for a $100 price. So what is important is a $100 value for a $100 price. So so there are some frills that are obviously going to go out of the window, which over a period of time have built up. And this is not something that happened overnight. This is over a decade, 2 decades that we have started to give much more than what we were really charging. So I think from that perspective, that kind of frill cost is definitely out of the window. But like Navjit and Sudeep and Anuraag are saying, how are you able to reduce your fixed costs and make them semi-variable? And that's the whole key. And that is something that's going to remain. How you have been able to control your cost model and your discipline in order to be able to retain the gains that you have learned with great difficulty during this crisis, as you go post-crisis, is going to be the challenge. People have, all of us human beings, victims of habit. We like to go back to old times. And, it's very important to carry the learnings of the crisis into the post-crisis period. And from that perspective, I see that as an industry, you will find that we are more efficient in turning 100 rupees that we earn on the top line into more profit at the bottom line. And that's because of a very sustained and sustainable approach to managing our costs.
So my question still remains, what are the three costs which you see gone forever? Is it the minibar? Is it flowers? Is it something? I don't know. You tell me.
Well, I think if I may come in, and I was just thinking when you were asking this question to Rohit, there's some things that I think all of us have got used to. I can't recollect when was the last time I touched a physical newspaper. So, that's the one. And plus, a lot of our hotels, especially in the luxury segment, had a lot of printed collaterals and print-out materials. And our guests are worried in touching everything that they believe has been there lying in the room for probably much longer prior to their arrival. So some of the stuff is already going to go. But I also think COVID has provided us an opportunity to start reimagining our services. I said this earlier, that what is it, as Rohit said, adds value to a guest experience? What is it that really matters? And what is it that the guest can stay without noticing its absence? So
Minibar.
I think minibar will stay. I mean, if I talk purely in the terms of Leela hotels, bathrobes are staying, slippers are staying. Look, as I said earlier, I really believe, and probably it's because of the brand and the company that I represent, that our customers will be back. They're trickling in now, but give it a few more quarters and hopefully a couple of positive announcements, they'll all be back. So we do not want to do anything which is semi-short term or something that we have to retro-correct 6 months or 9 months down the line. And this brings me to what Navjit and Sudeep spoke about brand standards earlier. Now, whilst we are evaluating and examining every brand standard, we haven't reduced any brand offering. Rather, we have used COVID, and we expect that it's going to give mother, how to focus more on healing, on wellness, immunity, how to kind of bring in the menus that are more bespoke in that nature, the welcome drinks on arrival, and the amenities that go into room. Because brands are built over decades and decades. I mean, there are brands here which are more than 100 years old. So, we are very, very mindful and conscious that the brand is what defines us. So the moment we start compromising, there is always a risk of even losing the little business that we are getting. That was great.
So minibus, according to Anuraag, newspapers, printed collateral are something which we may not see. Navjit, what's your opinion on this? It may not necessarily be the norm, but what do you see for now?
So I think that frequency of contact is something that we're going to see is not going to come back the way it was before. So whether it's the frequency of contact in restaurants, whether it's the frequency of contact when you're servicing a room, how frequently you're doing that. And obviously, this is slightly more cultural. For example, in the US, we have a far less frequency of servicing than we are doing it in Asia Pacific. I mean, we may not service a room, for example, right now in the US for 3 days, whereas that would be unthinkable in Asia Pacific. So where customers still require a daily servicing of the room. But I think in the longer run, as we get to more nimble workforces, much more efficiency in terms of manning, we're going to see how we can do the same thing or probably something less with far greater efficiency. So I think number of contacts that we have, physical contacts, is something that we are going to either replace digitally, or we are going to have, there's going to be an expectation even from people to have a reduced sense of contact. So I think that's something that we are going to see. It's going to be much higher quality contact, but less frequent contact. That's something that, and I think the other major changes are going to happen really from something that you may not see, but really will be more infrastructure and more in the background. And they're going to be related to how you can do more with less, and that's whether you're using digital to enhance your accounting, or you're using digital to work with HLP and technology to enable that. But that you're going to bring in efficiencies that are going to improve profitability.
All of you this question, and also to the other hotel groups. My question, this is a question to everybody. We are more vocal about local, right, than we were ever before. Whether it is a guest, whether it is our Prime Minister talking about Atmanirbhar, but we still see technologies like software and in the back of office or purchase department. We are still buying software technology from global companies, while India seems to be the hub for IT. So have you all looked at what all can become local? It will not only strengthen the bottom line for hoteliers, but also strengthen our GDP, and things like amenities. Can we not go with local amenity suppliers? Why do we still have to source it globally? And yes, Rohit, you wanted to say.
Yeah, so I totally agree with you. I mean, going local is not only a mantra; it just makes business sense. And whether it is amenities, we have always been using amenities that have been made locally because we'd like to bring India to the world. And so whatever is available in terms of Ayurvedic products, etc., that are there today, natural products, that is something that we provide our guests anyway in terms of amenities. So from that perspective, definitely local. But when you spoke about technology, and that's the time I wanted to come in, we have launched our home delivery app called Qmin. And Qmin app was done totally internally with our colleagues in the Tata Group, with TCS, with Tata Digital, and Tata Strategic Management Group, and we have launched this entire in-house app. We are not piggybacking on any other app that has come from anywhere else. It's a domestically constructed app, and it meets the needs of the domestic market. I couldn't agree with you more. It makes sense to go local. Well, you will not be able to get a nice 18-year-old single malt locally, but there are some nice whiskeys going around. So it's just about a matter of balancing what you offer to our clients. We will necessarily need to import certain things, but yes, going local is the way forward.
Sudeep, would you like to say something? Yes, please. No, we can't hear you.
So it actually depends on brand to brand and what the brand promise to the customer is, right? So on the luxury brands, would we go local with all the products? Maybe, maybe not. But we are already local with all our amenities and so on, right? What you find in a Holiday Inn, what you find in a Crown Plaza is all sourced locally. But coming back very quickly to the question you asked, give me 3 things which will go away forever, right? Yeah. This is my conjecture. It's not gone yet, but number 1 is key cards. Right.
Yeah, sure.
Number 2 is the frivolous things in the room. For example, compendiums and pens. Right. They may be available on demand, but I think they will be gone. Right. And any other high touch items, which are not necessarily used by all the guests. So for us, again, for my mainstream brands, to Holiday Inn, Holiday Inn Express, a lot of the things like shaving kits, toothbrushes, combs, and all of that will be available likely on request, but they will not be placed in the rooms, because at least till the time that people do not have the confidence that this corona is behind us. And I also think that in time to come, the restaurant menus will be gone.
Yeah, they should go actually. A study says that they have more bacteria on them than a toilet seat.
Well, they say the worst is your mobile phone, but we all know that. So those are going to go. But I think, listen, it's not, to me, going local is now the norm. I don't think so. If you've got sufficient scale in the country, and for us, we do, I think everything is now pretty much local.
And Anuraag, Leela is an Indian.
I think Leela stands for true Indian luxury, and if I may say so more proudly as an Indian, that was recently recognized as the world's leading luxury brand by an international publication. So we are absolutely embracing whatever is the best of local, and like Rohit mentioned, we are also looking at an amenity range and a whole program which is the best of luxury Ayurveda. We have a water and a water program. So you can have your single 18-year-old single malt, but you can have it with a pinch or and a dash of very well curated water of life, which is by Leela. So there are many such programs that we are bringing. There are those evening ceremonial rituals, which are very local and they reflect the customs and traditions of India. When the day turns into evening, we have for our associates, we have the local pride pin, which is pride of being a part of Leela, as well as being a part of pride of being working for a true Indian brand. And so there are a lot of programming that's happening to promote the local ethos.
And owners, I would like to ask this one last question. Also, this question our audience would like to understand from all of you here. Owners are the one who are bearing the cost at the end of the day, right? And what are we doing to instill that confidence, which has gone drastically down amongst the owner community about the industry? What are we doing so that their confidence stays on and they are confident about the revival of the hospitality industry? Rohit.
Okay, sorry, Rohit, go. Some of us wear multiple hats of both owners and operators. So,
yes.
Yeah, I think we wear multiple hats, and we are owners and operators, and 50% of our portfolio is owned, 50% of our portfolio is managed. So it's what is important is for us to have a continuous dialogue with the owners to ensure that we are in a win-win situation. They understand that compromising on brand may be hurting them in the long term, may help in the short term. So the whole thing is balancing short-term gain and long-term vision. The owners need to be taken along with the operating company. Operating company has to be aware of the requirements of the owners, the cash flow requirements of the owners, and together they need to win this game. It's not us or them, it's together. And I think in true spirit of partnership between an operator and an owner, as long as either understands each other's priorities and work together, I think we can achieve the impossible. And that is delivering positive EBITDA even in these bad times.
Are you been able to do that? Delivering positive EBITDA? Have you done that for any of your properties? In the recent time I'm talking about.
Yes. Yes, during the COVID, yes, we have had quite a few of our hotels that are EBITDA neutral, and a few have been EBITDA positive also.
That's interesting. That's IHCL.
That's right.
We have lost. Have we lost Sudeep already? Okay. So coming to the end of this panel discussion, which I would have loved to continue, the learnings, I would like to just go through what we have learned. So cost remains as crucial as generating revenue in today's time. I think cost is something which we need to, which has become very innovative rather than looking at the negative side. And there will be certain standards which will be set going forward into the new normal when it comes to cost. So from AMCs to negotiating with vendors, having some work with the state governments, having increased importance on heat, light, and power. Then IHG says preserve cash for the owners, relaxing brand standards, giving market-specific relief packages to the owner, which is nice, digging into their FFE reserves, getting a force measure for lease cost. These are some of the cost reductions that we have seen. Few things will go away in the coming times, but we will go as we will look at it as we go. Anything else anybody would like to mention in the end? Cost, borrowing cost, or anything that you would like to see. I will be talking to each one of you separately, and we will take this discussion further with an online audience to know more about on this subject.
So we are cautiously optimistic. This too shall pass, and we will definitely see each other in person on the other side of this pandemic. So that's all that I need to say. Thank you so much for having me on the panel. Thank you.
Thank you, Rohit. Thank you very much. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Thank you, Anuraag.
Thank you.
Thank you, Navjit.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sudeep. We have Sudeep is gone, but I thank him for sharing his valuable inputs. Thank you, audience. Thank you for listening in, and stay tuned to get more on Hotelier India about this panel. Thank you.
And thank you, Gurmeet, and thank you, gentlemen. This has been a really interesting and insightful panel, especially for us, like considering we are very interested in knowing exactly where hotels are cutting costs. So it was pretty useful for us as well. But thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.